This old home computer we've been using, this HP compact running an Athlon x2, had a poor upgrade path, and I decided, you know what, it's time to put this thing to rest. But because I'm Ladybug Adventures and the cheapest man alive, I'll find another use for this.
You never know what's coming your way with Ladybug Adventures. I bring you mousetraps, archery videos, car cam videos, DIY projects, and computer builds.
Don't forget to subscribe. Now, for those of you that have been following me for a while, know that I found this computer in a ditch, found out that actually I could get it working. I upgraded the CPU to a Q8400S and decided, you know what, I'm going to put it in an Xbox. So I squished it into an Xbox and thought of a different power solution because the motherboard was quite big and I didn't want to use a Pico power supply. So I decided to make my own custom power supply solution. You can check out all these videos in the cards in the top right hand corner. But once our home computer started to die, I thought, well, I already have another gaming computer. I'm going to sacrifice this one and change this into our new home computer. Not bad. A ditch computer into our new home computer. So I decided to use an old computer case that I had laying around. It had horrible ventilation and also had broken front USB ports. So I decided, you know what, instead of trying to fix those, I'm gonna just make a whole new front of the case with improved ventilation and working front ports. Unfortunately, all my footage that I had fabricating the new front of this case was lost as my hard drive died, and I also lost a number of other projects. So I pieced together as much as I could, but unfortunately, the making of the front is gone. In order to cool this beast, I decided to use two 140mm Spectre fans. They were on sale for about $5 each. 140 because honestly, the bigger, the quieter. I also decided to put in some dust filters. And for the front of the case, I decided to cover it with aluminum flash. So it's quite thin, easy to work with, and actually fairly cheap for about 10-foot roll. I think it was around $15 at Home Depot. And I'll show you how easy it is to work with. So unfortunately the footage got erased of me actually making it, but this is really how I did it. This aluminum is so thin. All we got to do here is score it. So if I want to cut off this piece, I'll just score it here. 1 or 2 scores should be enough, and then simply bend it to make those fan cuts. I basically just, this is just a very rough circle, but made a circle, right? Did a pizza pie kind of cut out here, etc. And you can do as many pizza pie cuts as you want. From that point, I just drilled out a hole in the middle and popped them out. So, right, that's just an example of a drill out hole. My needle nose pliers. This is on a very small scale, so I'm just trying to, right? And then pretty much I could just rip it open. I'm trying to show you a nice micro scale, but because of the score lines, you're able to cut and rip. There we go. And then you would just continue around the pizza pie. And that's how I did the cutout for the fan. And of course I just had to be a bit careful because it's a bigger hole. But that's it. And then just flatten it out. And that's how you make a hole or a circle. So this, a pair of pliers, a knife to score and cut. So after a lot of measuring and cutting, finally got everything put together. Now I did end up riveting the aluminum into the case, so it's actually just a part of it, and screwed in the fans. And overall I was thinking about painting it black to match the case, maybe painting the whole case black or a different color, but in the end I just kept it with the bare aluminum. I think it looked pretty cool. And there it is with the filters installed as well. I actually kind of like it without the filters, but again I want to cut down on any dust. Power button, I had it lit green and added some LEDs. In the end I took out the LEDs, although they looked kind of nice. I just figured in where they're going to be going in the family room, they were not necessary. So this is the interior before I changed out the graphics card and took out the lights. But my cable management, there's nowhere to put the cables really, and I just didn't bother. Airflow is pretty good, and you'll see that in a sec. I used the old hard drive holder and just cut off the 5 1/4 inch drive bays that were above there. The fans, again, I don't have them on a speed controller at all. They just are driven off of one of the Molex connectors, I believe, and they spin just fine. Really quiet. And again, you'll see here where, well, I do a tissue thing, there's no exhaust fan either, but the amount of pressure and the amount of airflow is enough definitely to exhaust that hot air through the back and through the sides. I added the front USB and headphone microphone jacks from an old computer, just one of the boards there. I just had to lengthen the cables out, which took quite a bit of time, and the power button just mounted in the top corner. This is the hard drive holder, and again with the top cut off. I have the 120GB SSD and the 2TB hard drive for my storage. Now this is a pretty old computer, and the I/O has just got USB 2.0s and not much else to it. Again, I'm using a Q8400S and 8GB of DDR3 1333 memory. I scrounged up an old HD 6450 as the video card, as you know what, it's not going to be used for gaming, nothing else, just to play, you know, videos, 1080p videos, etc. So we don't need much more than that. So this is where it actually lives now. Turn it on. And I still have the Xbox logo there. So that's it. This is our new but old household computer. I took something old and that was thrown away and made it into something that is now used every day and does everything that it is required to do. It's really well ventilated and should keep performing well for years to come. Thanks for watching, and stay subscribed for the next Ladybug adventure.